Welcome into the locker room presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond. I'm Namath Pitts, and boy, do we have a special show for you guys today. But before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, I want to remind you to hit that like and follow button on our East Alabama Now page so that you don't miss the locker room. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. covering local East Alabama news in the Calhoun and Cleveland County areas. Also, I want to remind you of our East Alabama Now news, which is tonight at 6:30 p.m. John Holder will have your local weather. Mike Stedham and Katie Edwards will bring you your local news. And then I'll have your local sports preview of baseball, softball, and soccer action for tonight in East Alabama. I got the special privilege this week of joining a legend inside of his home to sit down one-on-one and talk about his career and talk about his future. And that legend is Eli Gold. Now, most of you know Eli Gold because he was the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network, Alabama football, until this past spring. He was let go by the University of Alabama. So with that, Eli had to figure out what was the next step in his life, what was the next step in terms of his future. And a relationship with Greg Seitz, the athletic director at Jacksonville State University, would lead him to Jacksonville, Alabama. And that is what opened up the opportunity for us to sit down one-on-one with Eli. Now, we are going to talk with Eli the next segment. We're going to talk with him actually 2 days in a row. Today's going to be part one, where we're primarily going to talk about his career. We're going to talk about the landscape of the game right now, name, image, and likeness, the transfer portal. We're going to talk about what got him into broadcasting and a lot of different things. And then part two will be tomorrow, and we're going to talk about Jacksonville State University more. So splitting it up in 2 days, part one is today, where I'm going to come in, ask him some questions, go back to his house, and then tomorrow we'll be at his house. And then you can get the full interview this weekend on Saturday. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Eli, though. And I got to tell you, from sitting down at his house for just a little over an hour and having a conversation with Eli, I feel like I learned so much. I feel like I grew in my understanding of what it means to be a sports broadcaster. Eli Gold was actually born in New York, and his high school was a little different than high school in today's society. Eli went to school from about 7 a.m. to about 10:45 a.m. or so. He would leave school, he would hop on a subway, and he would go to Madison Square Garden, or he'd go to New York Yankee Stadium. And he'd go to Yankee Stadium if they were playing a game. He'd buy the cheapest ticket they had. Eli would buy the cheapest ticket they had so that he could sit all by himself and broadcast into a tape recorder. Or he worked at Madison Square Gardens, where he was the get your peanuts, get your peanuts. He was that guy that would stand up by the press box on the very top selling peanuts so that he could hear the radio guy, so he could talk to him. Eli, that was the start for him. It was repetition, 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 getting the most of repetitions. And Eli he had over 200 stations in New York. It's one of the most thriving places in all of America, coming up wanting to be a broadcaster. He got his first gig as a weekend broadcaster, and that ended up turning into him doing NASCAR. In 1976, Eli Gold became a member of NASCAR's Motor Racing Network, where he did a NASCAR. He's done hockey, did the Birmingham Bulls. Kind of what led him into Birmingham was becoming the voice of the Birmingham Bulls. And he even did some NHL games for the St. Louis Blues. He did the Nashville Predators. So his career has featured a lot, not just in football, where most people know him from, but for NASCAR, from hockey. And then it was in 1988, Eli Gold became the radio broadcaster for the University of Alabama Crimson Tide football and basketball at that time. He hosted the shows, The Tide, Hey Coach, and became the play-by-play guy through a lot of different eras. Coach Curry, Coach Dubose, Coach Stallings, Nick Saban, a lot of different coaches through the areas that Eli Gold voiced. And he's done MLB things. He's done NFL games. I mean, the list goes on of the accolades and accomplishments that Eli Gold has accomplished. He's actually in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, and he is now the voice of baseball for Jacksonville State University on ESPN+. He has accomplished about as much as anyone can accomplish. He is a legend. I remember sitting in my room, I kid you not, going, "You're listening to Eli Gold, and this is the Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network." Now, that's not me trying to do it, but I used to sit there and try to impersonate him. I wanted to be the next Eli Gold. And we're actually going to ask Eli Gold one of those questions today. What is his advice to someone out there that says they want to be the next Eli Gold? Needless to say, this opportunity was a blessing. We say thank you to Eli Gold for welcoming us into his home. He's had probably one of the, he's left a mark He's left a legacy that people remember and will continue to remember. His battle with cancer, he's overcome it. We're going to talk more about his battle with cancer tomorrow. And so we have got a lot. So I know you don't want to see me. The interview is not about me. Let me be very, very clear about this. This was not about me. This is not about some big opportunity, big break for myself. No, this was about Eli Gold, the experiences that he's been through in life that he could share with us, and most importantly about his future at Jacksonville State University. Being here in East Alabama, we want to know what's next at Jacksonville State University, and Eli Gold is going to continue his legacy and be a part of this program right here in Calhoun County. And so, less of me, more of Eli Gold. When we come back, I'm going to ask some questions, and we're going to take it to Eli Gold's house where he's going to give us more answers. And so, hey, don't go away. When we come back, we're talking with Eli Gold, the voice of Jacksonville State baseball on ESPN+.
Ted's Floors and Beyond is excited to introduce our all-new outdoor living collection. Have you ever dreamed of elevating or even creating an outdoor living space, whether it be for grilling, lounging, playing, entertaining, or just winding down? Our quality tile and stone, combined with our expert craftsmanship, will no doubt create unforgettable outdoor moments with family and friends, while also enhancing the beauty and value of your home. Call us today.
We live in a world that moves quickly, and while we are able to connect faster than ever through technology, maybe you've noticed that real connection is hard to come by. Parker Memorial Baptist Church offers you a place to connect, a place to learn more about Jesus and the difference He can make in your life, a place to build relationships with like-minded believers, or maybe discover what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. A place to use the gifts and talents God has given you. A place where we love God and we love you. Parker Memorial Baptist Church, 1205 Quintard Avenue, Anniston. Visit our website for details.
Ted's Floors and Beyond brings you the locker room each and every day. Ted's Floors and Beyond has all your flooring needs, whether it's hardwood, laminate, carpet, tile, luxury vinyl. They have it for you right there at Ted's. You can go by their showroom there in Anniston and you can pick out what you like, want, and need, and they can do that there at Ted's. Also, they've got their partnership with Welborn Cabinet and will offer you a complete kitchen or bath makeover. That includes cabinets, countertops, flooring, backsplashes, tile showers. They can get it done there at Ted's Floors and Beyond. And now they offer you work on your outdoor space, whether it's an outdoor kitchen, patio, or living space. They have specially made outdoor tiles and stones that can enhance your outdoor experience. Go by and see them today at their showroom in Anniston on Highway 431, right before you get to Sachs Elementary School, or visit them online at shopteds.com. That is shopteds.com. Ted's Floors and Beyond brings you the locker room. We continue on the locker room presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond, and we are now going to talk with Eli Gold, a legend, one of the best broadcasters to ever come through the state of Alabama, and someone that has certainly left a legacy when it comes to sports broadcasting. We're going to start the day by asking him about his career. I asked Eli, what was it that got you into broadcasting?
What got me into broadcasting is the fact that I was an absolutely terrible student. I was an absolutely abhorrent athlete, but I loved traveling. I loved sports. I would sit down and I could memorize the New York Yankees lineup and what everybody was hitting and all of that stuff, but I couldn't keep track of, what year the War of 1812 was in. I mean, I was just a terrible student. So I just gravitated to athletics, and I had to figure out a way to work in athletics where it didn't require math and didn't require any physical dexterity. And I laugh about it, but that's basically the truth. That's basically the truth. And I got a job at the Garden selling peanuts. I was a vendor. I walked through and I went deliberately to the upper deck. I went to the blue seats at the Garden. They're not blue anymore, but they were in those days. And I went and I would, I'd be the guy, hey, get your peanuts here, and I'd sell peanuts, but I was near the press box. That's why I picked the cheap seats. And whenever I would see a broadcaster come out of the press box to go to the men's room, to go to the elevator, to do whatever, I would descend upon them and ask them questions. And many were very, very kind to answer. Some not, but most did. And I was just eaten up with the business. And during the games, when the ball or the puck was in action, I wasn't selling peanuts at that second. I'd be standing and staring at the radio booth. And I couldn't hear what they were saying, obviously. It was, I was in the stands, but I was just watching them talking and people handing them copy to read and this and that and the other. I was just eaten up with the business. And that's what got me going with it. And then one thing led to the next, to the next, to the next.
One thing that Eli Gold can forever talk about is those big moments, the national championship games that he's broadcasted, the SEC championship games that he's broadcasted, the Daytona 500. So many big moments in his career. He has been in the booth for some very high-pressure moments. Now, I asked Eli, how do you prepare for those high-pressure moments?
You are judged by what did you do for me lately. It doesn't matter if I screwed up on a broadcast against Middle Tennessee or if I screwed up on a broadcast against Georgia. I still screwed up. And people would write about you and call you and make fun of you and this, that, and the other. So it's, as I always tell kids, no broadcast is difficult if you've done your homework. But that's the key. You got to do your homework. And I always over-prepare. I will never go on the air knowing that I'm under-prepared. And you never know what's going to happen. There can be a lightning deal, and you have to fill for an hour. There's so many things that can happen. There can be a terrible injury, and somebody, and the game stops for a half hour while they're tending to the player on the field or on the ice or whatever. So you do your homework, and it's relaxing to you, because if something goes wrong on game day, you're not sitting there wondering, what the heck am I going to say? You're sitting there saying, all right, I've got all these stories prepared, or all these factoids, or whatever it is. And so take your time, relax, and tell stories. So it's the preparation that makes it work.
Just like when I was a kid, I used to dream of being the next Eli Gold. I asked Eli Gold, what would your advice be to someone that's maybe coming out of college, someone coming out of high school that says they want to be the next Eli Gold?
If I were to tell the truth, I would have to say, don't go to college and go to work, because that's what I did. There's no textbook in the world that can teach you how to do play-by-play. My education was repetition. I'd go to Yankee Stadium, and again, that was, back in the day where you could get in for 65 cents to the bleachers and $1.05 for the upper deck. I mean, so I'm dating myself here, but that's where tickets prices were in those days. I used to hang on the chicken wire at schoolyards and do play-by-play of 10 kids playing basketball. And I didn't know them. I just made up names. Jones, Johnson, Smith, whoever it was, but I was not learning. I was not trying to be accurate in facts. I was trying to learn how to call the game, the descriptive skills. And that's what I did. Like I said, when I went to Yankee Stadium, I'd sit in the worst seat, the last seat in the upper deck. So I was near nobody. And I didn't, on midweek games, so I didn't feel odd talking into a tape recorder. And I just practiced my skill. So the repetition, so for me, not really getting a high school education, because I kind of walked right past the school on the way to the subway to go to work at Madison Square Garden, and not doing a college curriculum. I found that the best way to learn was through repetitions. But if you're in school, obviously there's a lot to be learned. I'm somewhat facetious there when I said don't go to school, but at the same time, you've got to work at the school station, learn and go to any station in Anniston and Gadsden, come to Birmingham, be an intern, learn how to run the equipment, learn how to edit videotape, learn how to do this, learn how to do. There's nothing that you should say no to. If you're offered an opportunity, you take it. You take it because you can always benefit from whatever you learn. But that, unfortunately, is not usually in the classroom. It's usually in the real world. And that's what I did.
We are going to take a break real quick, but when we come back, we're going to continue talking with Eli Gold, where we talk about his career. We're actually going to ask him about some coaches from the University of Alabama that he got the opportunity to broadcast, and we're going to talk a little bit about the game, where it's at right now with NIL and the transfer portal. So do not go away. We'll be right back on The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond.
Ted's Floors and Beyond is excited to introduce our all-new outdoor living collection. Have you ever dreamed of elevating or even creating an outdoor living space, whether it be for grilling, lounging, playing, entertaining, or just winding down? Our quality tile and stone, combined with our expert craftsmanship, will no doubt create unforgettable outdoor moments with family and friends, while also enhancing the beauty and value of your home. Call us today.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today. For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
Welcome back into The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond. We continue our conversation with Eli Gold. Eli Gold got the opportunity to broadcast to a lot of different coaches at the University of Alabama. He's broadcasted some legends like Bill Curry, Gene Stallings, Nick Saban, guys that had a lot of success on the football field. But I asked Eli himself, what is it about Bill Curry personally? What is it about Gene Stallings personally? What is it about Nick Saban personally? What makes those 3 guys different?
One of the nicest men on the face of the earth. If I had a son, I would have loved for him, not that I wouldn't have loved for him to play for Nick Saban or Gene Stallings, but I would have loved for my son, if I had had a son, to play for Bill Curry. What a class individual. His wife was a wonderful lady. If you got to work closely with these guys, but if you can't learn life from these people, I say that about Nick Saban. If you didn't learn about life from Nick Saban, then there's something wrong with you. It's not him, it's you. I was able to learn so much about the world and about broadcasting and about doing so well. And of course, Bill Curry went on to be a broadcaster for ESPN, so he had an idea of what we were all dealing with. So he was a wonderful guy to work with, and I see him not often, but I have seen him a number of times over the years now, and it's like we don't lose a beat. We pick right up where we were years ago. They're different men, certainly. Gene Stallings is everybody's grandfather. Everybody's grandfather. And he put his arm around you, and he would, his approach is different than Nick Saban. Not that there's anything wrong with Nick Saban's approach, as evidenced by, bucket loads of championships. But both men won championships, and they just did it in different ways. Both were big defensive-oriented men, so they did have that in common. But as far as, I talked to Coach Stallings last, I guess, a week ago Saturday, called him for his birthday. He's just a dear person. When I was sick with cancer, he would call and talk to my wife or what have you, and just keep up with me. And, they're genuine, and that's same with Nick Saban and Miss Terry, genuinely caring people. So you can't, it's tough to compare them because their styles were different, but you can certainly compare them because they both won titles and they were just Class A individuals.
The game has changed a lot. If you go from Bill Curry to Nick Saban and from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, the game is now all about what have you done for me lately and what can you do for me. It's a lot about name, image, and likeness. How much can you pay me? Pay to play. It's about transfer portal. Can you guarantee me more money than another place? Can you guarantee me a starting position? I asked Eli, that's the biggest thing that people debate in today's society is how do they feel about name, image, and likeness? How do they feel about the transfer portal? Well, here's Eli Gold's stance.
Like Nick Saban, I have no problem with kids being compensated. Okay? I don't have a problem with that. Although, I will tell you that having been a parent of a college student who went to Alabama, it would have been nice to have a free education, which these kids are already getting. But no, they bring in so much money for a university, these kids do, that I can't fault them for but then it gets out of hand. Then it gets out of hand, number one. You've got schools where one kid, and I'm not going to cite names here because that wouldn't be appropriate, but there's one school where the head coach, who I've known for years, had a kid ask him for like $50,000 or $75,000 just to come and visit, just to come and take an on-campus visit. And from what I'm told, and from what I read, this kid was going to be no more than maybe third string on the depth chart. And he wanted $50,000 just to show up and take a look at the campus. No, I don't go for that at all. The thing I'm concerned about, of course, is that, there are 50 or 60 schools that can handle those big dollars, and most cannot. Most cannot. So then where are we? The game is so diluted, or schools are dropping their athletic programs, or they become club sports or whatever. So I am concerned about that.
That's going to do it for our interview with Eli Gold today, but that is not all we have with Eli Gold. We will be back here tomorrow, same time on The Locker Room, with part 2 of our sit-down one-on-one interview with Eli Gold. Hey, I hope you'll join me right back here tomorrow. I'm Namath Pitts. Have a great afternoon. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond.